Good afternoon, sir.
Sarparas, Francesca, Ivonda, Sadaf.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good
Yeah.
afternoon, sir.
How are you today?
Pretty good, sir. How about you, sir?
Yeah, okay. I'm fine. Okay, so I've sent the barcode. Please try to scan for your attendance. Okay, so today I'd like to review the types of teaching method. I suppose you could find in the PowerPoints the approach and method. I suppose can you see in the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I have made a room for your assignment for the evaluation and test in the MS Teams. So please, you could send your assignment to MS Teams. So if you have sent to my WhatsApp, then you could repeat to send to the SMS MS Teams and the assignment. So I have made a room for you for your assignment. Okay, I like to review from the types of teaching methods from GTM up to what the CLT or the communicative language teaching, so that you could get a whole picture about the types of the teaching methods. Any one of you familiar with the teaching methods? So because if you apply for teaching, let's say like the PIPA and the bahasa Indonesia untuk peserta asing, and then you will get interview. So once my students also from S2 linguistics told me about the procedures for applying to teach PIPA, yeah, the overseas teaching Indonesian language overseas, meaning not here but let's say to Australia or in the what East Asian countries like Vietnam or the so every I suppose many countries abroad have let's say like the language center for learning Indonesian, and then you could apply for that position. So one of in the interview, so one can be on the examinee on the applicants will be asked about the theories of the teaching method, meaning like which kind of teaching techniques method you use for your teaching. So at that time, my student was not aware about the teaching techniques he used. So she didn't know the names of the, let's say like the audiolingual method or whether it is the total physical response or silent way and so on. Okay, I'll start from the GTM grammar translation method. So even though it is, I suppose, the oldest and the most traditional, however, we still sometimes we still apply such teaching method. Let's say if you are teaching large classes, so it used to be like 60 or 70 students, and then it is for teaching English outside the English department. Let's say like English for economics students, English for engineering students, or English for medical schools. So we used to have bigger classes, and then the focus is on the reading and grammar and so on, such as but the materials instead of literary works. So we give, let's say like ESP materials, English for specific purposes. But the way we teach is like the teaching using the GTM. Okay, so let's we have the reform movement and like Henry Swiss in England, Wilhelm Theater in Germany, Paul Pace in France, and so on. So if you watch the film called the My Fair Lady, so actually Henry Swiss is the real character in the so adapted from the Henry Swiss, the upright linguist. Also, if you read drama Pygmalion by Pinazzo, so actually Professor Higgins is the Henry Swiss, British linguist from England. So in the GTM, you could say what it is the theory-less, yeah, theory-less, meaning it is not based on the certain theory of language, but we just what focus on the teaching what passages from literary works, because the aim is to read the literature, or then starting from the reform movement. So the underlying theory is the phonetics, which is established and giving you insights into speech processes. So IPA, yeah, IPA, that is the International Phonetics Association, founded in 1886 and aim to improve the teaching of modern languages. So you could see here the characteristics of reform movement: the study of spoken language, phonetic trainings, the use of conversation text and dialogues, an inductive approach, teaching new meanings through establishing associations within the target language. So you could see here the shift from the written language, like, so the focus is on the reading, writing, and then grammar, but here shifted to the spoken language. That is the what speaking, phonetic training, the use of conversation text and dialogues. So instead of deductive approach, meaning you start from the principles or the theories, and then we directly to what to teach the text, teaching new meanings through establishing association within the target language. Then from the reform movement, we have the direct method. Yeah. So I remember a long time ago when I was in the secondary school, so my teacher would talk in the target language. So uh, the teacher, or yeah, didn't speak the first language. Instead, she spoke the target language all the time. So she never translated. Classroom instruction was conducted exclusively in the target language. Only everyday vocab and sentences were taught. Oral communication skills were built up in a carefully graded progressions organized around questions and answer exchanges between teachers and students in small, intensive classes. Grammar was taught inductively. New teaching points were introduced orally. Concrete vocab was taught through demonstration objects and pictures. Abstract vocab was taught by association of ideas. Both speech and listening comprehensions were taught. Correct pronunciation and grammar were emphasized. So when you make a mistake, and then your teacher would directly correct your pronunciation or your grammar. Okay, so far any comments, questions? So if you could remember your experience as a learner, which kind of teaching methods used by your teachers. Let's say when you were in the elementary school or secondary school, high school. So let's say if you remember about your teacher using TPR, total physical response. Or if your teacher uses, let's say, like a series of dialogues or audiolingual method or similar to direct method. Anyone would like to comment?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah,
After.
sir. In Pakistan, sir, GTM is common method for learning English language. Uh, Many teachers everywhere, even in schools, in colleges, and in universities, for learning English language, they always prefer to adopt the grammar translation method to the students. I have observed that. Many teachers everywhere in every institute, even in private centers, teachers always adopt GTM method. They give the translations, little sentences to the students, and send them to translate in English. So they believe that with this, students would improve and they speak brilliantly or right. Yeah, but I think it is this method is just for improving the uh, grammatical structure somehow maybe, but in speaking skills it doesn't work. So a number of teachers are working on it.
So that kind of method is applied to every level. Let's say like when you were in the secondary school or high school or college level, in every level or instant level only.
Yeah, sir. In when we were in this secondary school and high school,
Yeah,
so I saw that GTM method was applied by all the teachers, and even after my second higher secondary school, after my college, we always move to the this is the system of Pakistani education. They go for the bachelor's degree after 12 years of education. So even in university, I saw that a number of teachers were stressing on the GTM method. Even though in our final, even though, sir, I was just amazed to see, because before, in my first year, in our third year, or in our till our third year, we don't have any concept about the methods. So when we learned in our final year bachelor's degree, when we were in the final year and the last year, so they taught us about the methods such as GTM methods and grammar translation method and some other methods, all of these four methods. So uh, I saw that with careful observation, they just used to stress on the uh, one method, that is GTM method. They even didn't consider. Sir, even I observed, I gone through the much more information that uh, nowadays it is post method era, and any of the methods can be applied for the convenience of the students. But in Pakistan, I always saw, when comes to the matter of English language, they always prefer to adopt the grammar translation method. they
Yes.
don't focus on the other language methods or other type of methods. And this is the one of the biggest mistakes I have seen, sir, in Pakistan, especially those teachers who do not have a even clear concept and information about the types of methods or what kind of methodology should they apply on their students. Ratification is somehow at the peak in Pakistan. They always stress students to cram the things and write down in the papers. Lack of creativity is one of the I would consider that biggest blunder in our Pakistan, that they do not stress on students' creativity. They do not appreciate the works the students create by themselves, and this is the reason that even in bachelor's degree, they don't let the students focus on the research skills.
Hmm. Yeah, so similar to what to Indonesian countries. So usually in public school, so some teachers will use the GTM, but if you learn English in the private English course, that is the what you have to pay more money, meaning it is expensive. So you will be treated well. They will use more sophisticated teaching method. Let's say trying to use like uh, when you are teaching grammar, you can use like games or songs. So different from teaching in public schools. So if I teach in a private English course, so you have to, yeah, you should not use GTM, otherwise you will be fired soon. Yeah. So you have to catch up with the more, let's say like using communicative approaches under several teaching techniques. Let's say like the cooperative language learning or at what project based learning. So usually the GTM is only applied in the public schools with what larger classes. It is still, I suppose, yeah, it is still applicable at present depending on the situation. But if you teach English in a private English school, so you have to what to adapt yourself, meaning based on the guidelines by the
Sir?
institutions. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, sir, especially for learning English language, where, as I earlier told you that in Pakistan they just focus on the GTM methods.
yeah.
Uh, so is it? I mean that just is it not time consuming? They always focus on the GTM method and they does not focus on
Mm.
other methods and do not let the students talk even in discussion groups or in practicing. They just assign the students different type of translations, sentence translation, such as they give some little sentences to the students uh, in their native language, and they assign to the students translate into the English.
I see.
So the way they use this method for teaching English, they believe that by this students can improve and the students will learn and speak even English fluently. So, but it has been time consuming. I spent when yeah, I was in metric class and I used to have keen interest, and I used to wonder that how should I speak English and how should I improve my language. So once I got admission in a private center, so there was also a GTM
I see.
methodology. They used to give me different types of sentences for translation, and they used to stress me to remember different types of English language sentences, and those by craving I could speak. So with this, I was just confused at the time. How is this right method? Or after 12 years of education, and later when I was there in university, before university, I was admitted at the another center. I thought that I could improve. I need to improve my language. So when I was in another center, there was there I changed my personal, I mean, methodology. I even didn't follow the teachers. What I used to do, I used to just stand in the group discussions. So I used to talk with the other students, and I we had a topic on daily basis, such as about our politics or corruption, or about the education, or anything. So I I thought, I believe that I improved within 2 months, and I was able to speak very well. I mean, I had an idea that how to speak in English. So with this, my personal effort, when I did, and I even, yeah, did not get any of the lessons in grammar from that teacher. So I've I always till until now I always think that how do they teach our students and stress our students for learning English language. And it is right, like other countries, in our Pakistan too, a person who speak English is respected everywhere. This language is considered as a dominant language everywhere, whether in terms of interviews, written tests, or etc. in jobs.
Yeah, and to be fluent or to be proficient in English, so it will take a long process. So usually when you sit in the college for, let's say, for your B what BA, yeah, Bachelor of Arts, so you would study theoretical methods but not focus on the what spoken language. So spoken language or speaking skill, so you have to be active, meaning to interact with the native speakers or to practice. So the key of success to be fluent in spoken English is the practice and practice. And so the ideal way is if in your department you have a native speaker or some native speakers, that is the better way to improve your spoken English. Okay, and any other comments? So we next slide, ini kan yang principle of direct method. Never translate, demonstrate. So different from the GTM, never explain, act. Yeah. So in GTM, you have a lot of explanation by your teacher, but act, meaning whether you practice speaking or like in the phonetics, pronunciation drills to distinguish uh, between minimal pairs, like what bad and bad. Yeah, so similar. What it is called minimal pair. Yeah. Never make speech, ask questions. Never imitate mistakes, correct. So you will be corrected by your teacher on the spot if you make a mistake in terms of pronunciation or grammar. Never speak with single words. Use sentences. So like unit of discourse, it is called chunks of language, meaning let's say like the how are you today? I'm fine. Never speak too much. Make students speak much. So you give more chance, more time to your students for practice. Yeah, practice. Make students speak much. Never use the book. Use your lesson plan. Never jump around. Follow your plan. So based on your lesson plan. Never go too fast. Keep the pace of the students. So usually the native speaker of English, so when he or she speaks inside the classroom or outside the classroom, so usually when he speaks before the class, he would slow down his pace or her pace, meaning he would speak English more slowly compared to chatting in the teacher room, yeah, with his or her colleagues. Never speak too slowly, speak normally. Never speak too quickly, speak naturally, and so on. So the oral approach or situational language teaching is similar to ALM or audiolingual method. So this method was born in Britain, but ALM audiolingual method was born in USA. But the principles are similar. Developed by British applied linguists from 1930s to the 60s. Leaders Harold Palmer, A.S. Hornby. You know A.S. Hornby? Are you familiar with that name? A.S. Hornby? Anyone? Who is A.S. Hornby? Yeah, any comments? Are you
No,
familiar with the name Hornby?
no,
Wisemba Hornby. Yeah, sorry.
no, sir. It's not familiar for me.
I see. Okay, so when you were in the first year of your undergraduate level S1, so what dictionaries recommended by your teachers, your instructors?
It's Oxford Dictionary, Oxford
Yeah,
Advanced Learners.
by whom?
I think it's Hornby, sir. Now it's
Yeah,
coming.
yeah. So yeah, and the Hornby is the, what do you call, the experts of dictionary? Uh, how
Oxford
do you call the experts of writing dictionary? What is the term? Ahlinya membuat kamus. What do you call? What is the term? Anyone? Someone, someone who is expert in writing dictionary. What do you call? How do you call him? Starting with L.
Lexicographer.
Yeah, lexicographer. So lexicography is the science of writing dictionary. That is the A.S. Hornby. So when I was in the first year, long time ago, so my teacher provided me with Oxford Dictionary. So what is the complete title, Erwina, of the complete title
Oxford
by S&P?
Oxford Oxford Advanced Learner.
Yeah, Oxford's Dictionary of Current English, or perhaps there was some adaptation from time to time. Yeah, so it it is kind of the second Bible for us as the students of the English department. So everyone should have at least one dictionary English by S. Hornby. So the price was 5,000 rupees at that time, long time ago in 1972. And now our dictionary is gadget. So Hornby is left behind. So now what I consult is my gadget. So you can consult anything from the gadget. So when you are reading like the what drama, so at this matter I'm teaching literature, that is the drama, the modern drama. So I always consulted any technical terms or any phrases. So from my gadget, not from AS Hunpei. Yeah. So you have the EFL, Shell course books, Streamline English, access to English and so on. Kernel lessons plus or kernel lesson intermediate was used in 1970 what 78 or 70. For me, I use instead of kernel lessons, I use, let's say, like Practice and Progress by Alexander, and then Thompson and Martinet, Practical English Grammar, and so on. Tragit Go, Running Cast, and so on. So those old grammar books. But to improve your proficiency or your mastery of grammar, and then you have to read several grammar books, not only one. Such as those books complete each other. Also, it will be long process and principles of oral approach. Selection, the procedures of choosing lexical and grammatical content, revision, organizing, and sequences the content, presentation, techniques used for presentation and practice of items in the course. So from reform movement or from oral approach or direct method. So the teaching was getting more systematic, meaning so you have, let's say, like the how to select the materials. Also you have to have the grading, meaning how to put your teaching materials. The principle is from the simplest to the more advanced, more difficult items. So for ordering your teaching materials, the easier one is if you are teaching grammar, so using structural approach, so it is easier to put the teaching materials in the order. But if you use, let's say, like the discourse approach, so it will be more difficult to put in order, so that from the easier to the more difficult ones. So oral approach is was widely used in Australia, New Guinea, the Pacific territories. So we have the proponents, Judge Bateman and Gloria Tate. Because the oral approach and situational teaching was born in Britain. That is why it spread to the Commonwealth countries. Language teaching begins when the spoken language material is taught or orally before it is presented in written form. The target language is the language of the classroom. New language points are introduced and practiced situationally. Vocab selection procedures are followed to ensure that an essential general surface vocab is covered. Items of grammar are graded following the principle that simple forms. Ini apa? So it covered with the icon. So let's say the order of teaching, I suppose, if we refer to the theory of learning or on the way the child learns first language. So we start from listening, yeah, and then speaking, reading, and then writing. Yeah. So once I joined French class, yeah, and when I was also in the first year, so the first in the first meeting, you are not allowed to write down, to jot down any. So you just rely on your what your ears, yeah, your listening skill. So the teacher would pronounce some words, and then we are supposed to repeat, yeah, but not allowed to jot down. So just the relying on your what listening skill, yeah. So start from listening, and then speaking, and then reading, and then writing. That is the order or the sequence when you first learn language in your childhood. Approach theory of language, British structuralism. Speech was regarded as the basis of language, and structure was viewed as being at the heart of speaking. So that is why if you look at the table, so underlying theory is the phonetics, because the focus is on the spoken language. Methodology, word order, structural words, few inflections of English, and content words will form the material of our teaching. What is meant by content words? So we have content words, and the second one, what is it? Two types of words, content words and we have
Function.
functional words, right? What is meant by content words or functional words?
Content words is the words that have meaning, while function words is the word that support the meaning of the content words.
Yeah, can you give examples?
Content words is like these verbs, nouns, and function words is auxiliary, modals.
Yeah. What else? Prepositions, conjunctions, articles, those
Junction.
are function words. So if you remember about the telegraphic grammar or telegraphic words, so the child would only mention the content words, not the function words, because based on the telegraphic language, so if you send a telegraph, you have to be as economical as possible, otherwise you will pay more money. So you could omit the function words. So you just focus on the content words. So the language on the sentences are not complete, but you could grasp the meaning. Let's say, yeah, it happened in the past, but not now, because it will be sent faster compared to the letters. Yeah. So if you send like important news and then you use telegraph, and that is in the past. Let's say like aku pulang. So instead of aku pulang ke rumah tanggal berapa atau di mana gitu, so you just use a few words, especially in the content words. So that is why the child, when first learns language, so it is called the telegraphic language or telegraphic grammar. Also, we have here the verb and holiday, meaning context situations were given a prominent place. So if you look at the roots of the linguistics, so the development of linguistics will be divided into three domains. That is the structural linguistics, and then you have generative linguistics by Chomsky, and then the functional grammar by Halliday. So John Pfaff is the advisor of Halliday, the teacher of the supervisor of Halliday. So first introduced the concept of context, situation and context, and then developed by Halliday. So if you analyze the text, so you can, depending on if it is the academic text, and then you can refer to, let's say, like John's Wales. But actually, a text can be approached by the school of validity, that's in the functional grammar, or by John Swell's move analysis, depending on the interests of its students. To teach practical command of the four basic skills of language, accuracy and pronunciation and grammar, crucial errors to be avoided at all costs. So it is similar to the audiolingual methods. Errors to be avoided at all costs. Automatic control of basic structures and sentence patterns, fundamental to reading and writing skills. So this is the examples of syllabus based on the structural approach. Typical structural syllabus. So first lesson, second lesson, and so on. This is, that is, these are, those are, yeah. And then questions, is this, is that, and so on. So different from OA, oral approach. So AM, or duolingual method, was born in USA at the time of World War II. And so when and the American government needed more personnel mastering several some foreign languages, yeah, because they need like translator or to translate documents or to translate orally. So if you watch like the film in the final, yeah, countdown, yeah, so you have to have a personnel who masters like the Japanese language or Korean language or Vietnam language and so on, to be in the translator, juru penerjemah gitu ya. So it was a big project, yeah, because you involve 55 American universities in 1953. So I was 1 year old at that time, yeah. I was born in 1952. Established in 1942, Army Specialist Training Program. That is the first name for ALM, because the intention was for training the military personnel. So you have to be fluent in German, French, Italian, Chinese, Japanese, Malay, and other languages as interpreters, courtroom assistants, translators, and so on. Okay, so in order to save the time, I suppose similar to the what evaluation and test. So you could, of the group presentations, also only what you have to limit yourself. The presentation was only around 40 minutes, yeah, or 45 minutes, because the rest is for your progress report or for discussing your assignment, your process of teaching practice. So some of you or a few of you have submitted the lesson plan draft, and also we can discuss in the class, or I have to read first and then give comments for, yeah, revisions or for improving your lesson plan. So while presenting in group, so you can choose let's say like 4, or and then you could show using video about teaching demonstration, yeah. But the problem, if you put on the MS Team, so the voice on the sound is not in good quality, different from offline class. So I could use the projector, and then the sound is quite good, clear, compared to MS Teams online class. So please, Harwina can arrange for the group presentations. So choosing the teaching methods. So you have some choices, and then you just take, let's say like from the traditional teaching method, you pick only one, and then from the designer method, you pick one, and then from the communicative approaches, the latest one, so you could take like two, or so let's say cooperative language teaching or task-based language and so on. So you could check in the contents, table of contents from Richards and Rogers. Okay, any questions, comments? So you have to do two things, meaning the group presentations. So let's say like 10 to 15 slides. Also, you have to spend only half, let's say 40 minutes, and the rest will be used for your progress report about your teaching practice or your micro teaching. Also thinking about or deciding which type of students will you use, teaching your peers or teaching your own students. But make sure that prior to teaching, every document uh, should be checked first. Yeah. Okay, any questions? So slide 21 is kind of the types of learning and teaching activities in ALM. So you have many, like 20 or so, like the repetition. So ALM or a duolingual method refers to the theory of learning that is the behaviorism. So that is why you have repetition. This is the 7th month. This is the 7th month. So repeat after me. It can be in chorus, yeah, the whole class, or half of the class, or individual. Yeah. After a student has repeated an utterance, he may repeat it again and add a few words, then repeat that whole utterance and add more words. That is the characteristics of the ALM using repetition. So you have inflection. I bought the ticket. I bought the tickets. He bought the candy. She bought the candy. So you can put in the first sentence from singular, and then you have plural forms. And then the second sentence, so you substitute with the subject. He, and then becomes she. Change into she. I called the young man. I called the young man. So singular, plural. Man, and then man. Woman, women. Replacement, and like substitution, or one word in utterance is replaced by another. So also when you are teaching, try to apply one of the teaching methods, and then from the way you teach or the way of teaching, and then one can see which types of teaching method you use in your micro teaching or teaching practice, whether you use ALM or whether you use TPR, or so one can detect what kind of teaching method, meaning that you are supposed to apply one of the teaching methods, or perhaps you could mix, or what you have the, what do you call for mixture, combination, or you could say like eclectic teaching approach or eclectic approach. So let's say like TPR can be used for warming up. So what is the intention of using TPR for the first or at the beginning of the lesson, meaning in the warming up session, where using TPR? What is the intention or the aim of using TPR? So TPR belongs to the decision method, yeah, which is not based on the theory of language, but is based on the, let's say like the psychology or something like that. Like in Suggestoppedia is based on the meditation. Yeah. Say if you use TPR in the beginning, so what is the intention of the teacher to use such kind of teaching method? That is the total physical response. Anyone would like to comment? Mas Hakim, Mbak Erwina?
Is the question why the TPR become like a starter, sir?
No, so why a teacher uses TPR at the beginning or in the warming up session?
Yeah, because
Let's say, yeah.
it can it suits well as a ice breaking session, sir.
Yeah, okay. So one of the objective is to have ice breaking, or let's say like to make your muscles more relaxed, or relaxation session, so you are not feeling tense. Yeah, so by moving, yeah, your body, yeah, like sit down, stand up, please, or walk and or clap your hand, so the situation will be more informal, yeah, to reduce the tense, yeah, to reduce your the feeling the awkward or feeling worried about so it can be applied both for the young learners, also for the adult learners, because a long time ago as well, when I was managing kind of the language center or English course for Undip lecturers. So we had what we volunteer overseas suffers, yeah, kind of the volunteers teaching volunteers from Britain. So Linda Foss uses TPR at the beginning. That is for the learners because they are lecturers. And then I did not know the name, but my colleague who already studied in USA teaching what his major is TEFL, teaching English as a foreign language. So he mentioned this is TPR, but I was not familiar because I was a graduate of S1. I did not take yet my master degree in England, so I was not familiar with such thing, meaning the types of teaching method. But my friend did because he got his MSc, Master of Science, in TEFL. His degree is MSc, like in the what, like engineering students, and the Master of Science MSc, but in TEFL. And then you have restatement, replacement, and so on. So many in the. So you could refer to Richard and Rogers, around 20 or 19 types of activities. And now we have the CLT, and or under the umbrella communicative approaches. So you have the individuations. At that time in 1988, I heard that if you consult with individuations, so you have to pay 25 pounds per hour, or yeah, it was quite commercial, or because Peterson is what the giant, yeah, the giant in applied linguistics. So what terms did he introduce in the applied linguistics? So he mentioned between use and usage. Can you explain the difference between use and usage? Use and usage. Anyone would like to comment about use versus usage? In Pakistan, GTM is officially adopted everywhere, especially when teachers taught English language to students. Okay, so in our country, GTM is used generally in government school. However, the direct method is used in private international school and university. English was taught by using TPR. That's the most familiar method for the students in our country would be GTM. Because TPR, Nurul, provides a lot of movement activity, and it is fun activity for ice breaking for the students before they start the study. Okay, so GTM is universal, meaning it is applied everywhere in African countries, Asian countries, and so on. So even though it is the oldest, also let's say like considered obsolete, it is still available, yeah, everywhere, meaning it is universal. Use and usage, anyone would like to comment? We do soon, yeah. Scholars who advocated this view of language, such as Christopher Clandlin and Henry Widdowson, drew on the work of British functional linguists. That is siapa ini yang Halliday sebelumnya, Ford ya. American Works in Sociolinguistics, John Austin, use and usage, anyone please? Mas Hakim, Hermina, Heso. Okay, let me check your attendance first. Sadaf is here. Hello, Sadaf. Any info about Sadaf? Sarparas, do you know Sadaf?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah?
Yeah, sir. She's here. She's present
Okay.
in the class.
Okay. So she is here. Okay. And, Stella? Hello, Stella.
Yes, sir. She's also here, Stella.
Okay.
She's in the class.
I see. Okay, so everyone is checked. So I suppose no problem in your attendance. And Farouk is here. And Farouk.
Yeah, sir. She's also here.
Okay. Francesca.
Hello, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, please check. I suppose I have checked everyone. Sudah centang semua gitu ya, yang anyone? Notion of CLT. Notion of CLT. The goal of language teaching is to develop communicative competence. Language learning not merely acquires the knowledge of the grammatical rules, but also the ability to use language to communicate. Knowing language is more than know how to understand, speak, read, and write, but about know how sentences are used to communicate with others. So the difference between use and usage. Usage is the system, so you know about the language, and use how to use the language for communication. That is the difference between use and usage. So usage is grammar, use is the function. Yeah. How to use language for communication, not to know about language, but to know about language for communication. So the focus is on the how to use language for communication. Some scholars believe that CLT refers to the Council of Europe's Level Syllabus Fund Act. What do you know about the Council of Europe? Others believe that CLT is just modification of ALM. So ALM is modified and then it becomes CLT. Still, others believe that CLT is Wilkins' notional syllabus. So Wilkins is quite famous for his notional syllabus. What is meant by notional syllabus? Usually in the title is functional and notional syllabus from the word notion. Two types of CLT, one with linguistic approach, second pedagogical approach. So certain is the H the fundamental concepts in language teaching. So it's good book as well, so you could read that book. Yeah. So you could read the difference between the first type and second types. Yeah. The psychological or pedagogical approach, CLT, focuses more on the content than on the form of language. The pedagogical approach, the students totally immersed in the real communicative activity of the target language. Language acquisition is process is much emphasized. So you could here compare and contrast between ALM and CLT. So long list of the differences between ALM and CLT by Finocchiaro and Bromfit. Contrast the major distinctive features of the ALM and CA, communicative approach. The first difference attends to structure and form more than meaning. And in CLT, meaning is paramount. So the focus is on the meaning. That is why you study language or you learn language meaningfully, meaning based on the meaning. So like, this is my head, this is a floor, this is a window. Do you remember the old song for English learners? While pointing to the, let's say like the furniture in the classroom. Using this and that. This is a window. This is a floor. This is a blackboard. This is what gitu kan. Jadi so you pointing, the teacher will point to the, let's say in the furniture or objects available in the class. Yeah. This is my head. This is my fingers, or these are my fingers. So they are not in the, they are not put in the context, meaning not meaningful. Yeah. But it happens for perhaps improving your pronunciation or Or another song, ya. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? Brother John, Brother John. Terusannya apa, Erwina? Ingat enggak itu?
Ingatnya yang bahasa Prancis.
Are you sleeping? Brother John. Pokoknya itu about the bell, ya, the wake up call. Saya juga sudah tidak hafal gitu ya. So it is in the olden days, and about it is from the course book 1 or course book 2. So you always have songs. It is song for children, yeah. Demand memorization of structure-based dialogues. Dialogues have use center around communicative functions and are not normally memorized. So in ALM, so you have to memorize structure-based dialogues, but here you don't have to memorize. Contextualize is basic premise ini. So in ALM, it doesn't have to be contextualized. Mastery or of learning is short. Effective communication is short. So let's say in the past, number 1, the focus is on the accuracy, but now the focus is on the fluency. Fluency number 1, accuracy number 2. But in the past, accuracy number 1, fluency number 2. But whether someone is fluent or not, depending on the practice. So if you have more practice, and then you will be fluent. So it is kind of the personal effort, yeah. Not because of the system, but the effort of individual. So one can be very fluent, one cannot be fluent because of less practice. That happened in my time. Yeah. So 1 or 2 students were very fluent and they were very militant. So he or she would speak English both to his or her peers, also to the lecturers. He or she never spoke first language during their stay in the campus. Even when you meet him, or when he or she meets you on the street, so he or she would speak English. He or she doesn't care about the expression of the surroundings, meaning people would look at you because you speak English. Let's say like in the public transport, or in the mall, or in the market, and so on. But actually the result is wonderful, so you would be very fluent in English. But only a few, not the majority is like me, meaning not quite militant in practicing English. So you could you have long list here, the difference between ALM and CLT. Okay, so please, Erwina, arrange the presentation like in the other course, test and evaluation. So you could choose from the available teaching methods, but remember to, let's say you have 3 schools or 3 apa namanya ya, aliran, 3 schools, so you have traditional teaching method, you have the designer methods, and then you have the communicative approaches. Yeah. So under that umbrella, you have several types. So let's say if we discuss 4 types or 3, so you can pick up one method from the traditional one, let's say like ALM, the famous one, and then second type from designer methods. So you could choose TPR or silent way, and then the third, so you can have two, yeah, representative of the communicative language teaching. So next Monday, so you have group presentation, also you have progress report about your plan of micro teaching. Okay, any questions?
No, sir.
Sir, I
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
sir,
so if,
I think
yeah,
next Monday will be holiday for Idul Fitri. It will be like 2nd of May.
next Monday.
Yes, most probably we will need
Oh,
to
I see,
reschedule.
yeah. Okay, so after Idul Fitri, right? And then
Okay,
for
sir.
Friday, I suppose we still have class. We still have one class, right? For Friday, not yet holiday.
Yes, we do,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Monday will
sir.
be
Yeah.
holiday, and then we continue after, yeah, after the Idul Fitri, yeah. Okay, thank you for joining the class, and see you, yeah, next Friday. We still have one meeting. Yeah.
Next Wednesday,
Thank you
sir.
so much, sir.
Oh, Wednesday, sorry, yeah, for the replacement class at 15:30, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, see you next Wednesday afternoon at
Thank you, sir.
15:30. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.